All right, hello, math fans. Okay, so in the first lesson of this chapter here, we solved these equations, right? These quadratics. Basically, everything was factored for you. Now it's not going to be quite as friendly. All right, so just to kind of review real quickly, if you had everything was, let's say it was factored, it looks like this: 2x, x minus 3, x plus 4, and that equals 0. Okay, and remember, anything that has a variable, or basically anything with a parenthesis, or anything that has a variable that gets set equal to 0. So I have three solutions. So I have 2x equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, and x plus 4 equals 0. So this one, of course, gives me x equals 0. This one I add 3 to both sides, x equals 3. And this one I subtract 4 from both sides to get x equals negative 4. All right, so three solutions. All right, that's pretty easy. Now it's not going to be so friendly. Okay, you all got all comfortable and like, oh man, this is really easy. Okay, it's not a big deal. The thing you have to remember, guys, is you have to remember how to factor. If you don't know how to factor, you will cry. All right, so you just got to remember that. So let's kind of start out with a nice little friendly problem here. If I have x squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, a couple of key things here. First of all, when you solve this, it has to equal 0. Okay, so let's just say my problem started out this way. Let's say it started out as x squared minus 5x is equal to 6. The first thing you got to do is you got to subtract 6. You've got to get it equal to 0. That is so huge, people. So x squared minus 5x minus 6 equals 0. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to factor it. And it could be, and you have to remember all your steps with factoring. You got to do greatest common factor first. Oh, actually, first it's got to be in descending order. Then you do greatest common factor, and then you look to see if you can solve using, is it a trinomial? Is it a difference of two squares? Whatever. Okay. In this case here, you guys should recognize, okay, you got a trinomial. Okay, x and x, and then of course our sign is going to be plus and minus. Got to remember all that. And it's going to be minus 6 and plus 1. Okay, and obviously I have two answers here. It's x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 6, minus 6 equals 0. So subtract 1 from both sides, x equals negative 1. Add 6 to both sides, x equals 6. Okay? Pretty easy schmeezy, right? But this is, I can't stress that enough, guys. It's got to be equal to 0. You factor normally, and then whatever you have, equal to 0, that's you set each of those equal to 0. So let's try another one here. What if I did x cubed minus 6x squared equals 7. X. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's it. Looks like a beautiful problem. Okay, the first thing you got to do is got to equal 0. So you're going to subtract 7x from both sides. So you get x cubed minus 6x squared minus 7x equals 0. Okay, so far so good. Remember the next step, math fans, is greatest common factor. If you forget one step, if you don't set it equal to 0, or you forget greatest common factor, or you just forget how to factor, period, it'll be a mess. It's so sad, so sad. Okay, so my greatest common factor is x, so I'm going to factor out an x here. So you get x parentheses x squared minus 6x minus 7 equals 0. Okay, I've got a trinomial here, so I'm going to write two parentheses here, because that's how you factor trinomials. So I'm going to do x, it's plus and minus. So it's minus 7 plus 1, sorry. Okay, and then just to check it, remember you always check it. Outside negative 7x plus 1x is negative 6x. That's good. So this is what this is like the last lesson now. I said each of those equal to 0. So I get x equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, and x minus 7 equal to 0. So here I'm done. I subtract 1, I get x equals negative 1. Add 7, x equals 7. That's it. All right, pretty mellow. Just remember, I'm going to write this down here because I think this is important. First of all, it's got to be equal to 0. Second step, it has to, you want to put it in descending order. Third step is always factor out a greatest common factor. And fourth step is, it all depends, right? It's going to be some sort of factoring, maybe not, but probably some sort of factoring, either a difference of two squares or a trinomial. But those are 4 important steps. Okay, let's try a couple more examples here. If I have 2x squared is equal to 50. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is subtract 50 from both sides. So I get 2x squared minus 50 equals 0. Greatest common factor is a 2. So I get 2 parentheses x squared minus 25 equals 0. Okay, x squared minus 25, man, you should recognize that one as a difference of two squares. So it's x plus 5, x minus 5. Now my question to you guys is, how many solutions do I have? If you guess 2, that is a sweet answer. If you guess 3, boo! Okay, I know what happens is people look at that 2 and they're like, oh, well, it's got to be one of the solutions. But remember, it's got to have a variable with it. If it doesn't have a variable, it's not one of the solutions. So this is not a solution. I don't even have to worry about it. I just have x plus 5 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0. That's all I have. So I subtract 5, I get x equals negative 5, and I add 5. I get x equals 5. So 5 and negative 5. Those are my two answers. Okay? Not bad. Not bad. How about this one? Negative 3x cubed. Let's see. Plus 27x. Nah, we're going to set that equal to. Ooh, yeah, look at that. Oh, that's a sweet problem. Okay, so it's negative 3x cubed equals negative 27x. You're like, oh, that's brutal. Not really. Okay, first thing, I'm going to add 27x to both sides. I get negative 3x cubed plus 27x equals 0. Okay, so far so good. It's equal to 0. Next is greatest common factor. Well, I definitely know I can take a 3 out, and I can take an x out. And remember, guys, no negative numbers as your leading coefficient. So I'm going to factor out a negative 3x. Okay, looks good to me. And I get x squared left over, and I get minus 9. Sweet. So that's, of course, this is a difference of two squares. X plus 3, x minus 3. Okay, set each of those equal to 0. And of course, this one just gives you x equals 0. That one subtract 3. I get x equals negative 3. And this one add 3. There we go. 0, negative 3, and 3. Okay? Not too shabby. Let's do a couple more here. Let's make a couple more challenging ones, because I know you guys like challenging ones. Let's see. How about 18x cubed minus 19x squared equals 12x. Okay, I'm going to subtract 12x from both sides. So you get 18x cubed minus 19x squared minus 12x equals 0. The only thing I can factor out of here is an x. So let's do it. So divide each of these by x. So we get x times 18x squared minus 19x minus 12 equal 0. Okay, so this one's a little more challenging. You got to think of your combinations here. Not always so easy, right? 18 is, I'm going to almost ignore the 18 and 1. I'm going to do 9 and 2 and 6 and 3. And 12 is going to be 3 and 4 and 6 and 2. Again, I could do the 12 and 1, and I could do the 18 and 1. I might say that for later, if I don't get any numbers here that I need. Okay, so let's do some parenthesis work here. We know the signs are going to be plus minus. And let's do, I don't know, 9x and 2x. Well, I know I can't put the 3 here because you can't have 9 and 3. So in fact, if you look at this problem, this wouldn't, I guess, let's see, would it even work? Nope, this one wouldn't even work. This one wouldn't work with either one of these because the 6 can't go with the 3, it can't go with the 4, it can't go with the 6, and it can't go with the 2. So I even know that 6 and 3 are not good, so I'm not even going to use it. The only one that works with the 9 and 2 are the 3 and the, let's see, 3 and the 4. Nope, how about the 4 and the 3? Let's try that one. Outside, negative 27x, inside, plus 8x. That gives me negative 19x. Hey, man, look at that. Right on the money. Okay. And so that's our answer. Well, of course, that's it factored. And then we said each one of those equal to 0. So x equals 0, 9x plus 4 equals 0, and 2x minus 3 equals 0. And guys, don't do a shortcut and just come up with an answer. I want to see algebra, because what happens when people do a shortcut, they mess up the fractions. Sometimes they get 9/4 or 4/9. They're not sure. Show the work here. Always show your work. So 9x equals negative 4. You just can't make a mistake if you show your work all the time. So x equals negative 4/9. And this one, add 3 to both sides. So 2x equals 3. Divide by 2. X equals 3 halves. So there you go. Okay, oops. All right, so x equals 0, negative 4/9, and 3 halves. So that's the only difference between this problem, these problems, and the problems from before is these problems you have to factor first and then solve. The problems in the past, they were already factored for you. So I want to make just one caution here, guys. Okay, if you get a quiz or a test and it says solve, and you get this. This is easy. Okay, I've had it in the past where kids go, oh, and they try to multiply, they try to FOIL it, put it all together just to have to factor it again. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Why are you doing this? Guys, this is already factored for you. If you see parentheses and I ask you to solve, you are good to go, man. It's 2x equals 0, x minus 3 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, and you solve. And you get x equals 0, 3, and negative 2. I mean, it's so easy. It's when it's, 2x cubed minus 5x squared minus 8x equals 0. Then you have to do your factoring, and you factor out your x, and you get your number, whatever, inside your parentheses. And basically what you do is that's your first step, which is going to make it look like that, and then you solve. Okay, so be really careful. If it's already factored, say thank you, you're a very nice teacher for giving me a problem like this, and then you solve it. Okay, as opposed to if I give you a problem like this guy right here. Okay, I'm not so nice because I gotta help you out, let you learn this stuff. Okay, then you have to factor and then solve. All right. Anyway, that's it, math fans. Hope you learned something. Have a nice day. Adios. Goodbye.